crowd of people and they miss, then obviously their intent was to mass VDM. So you are going to take it as if they are mass VDMing. Same with mass RDM. If they shoot into a large amount of people and they're not involved with the scene and they happen to miss and they get killed, again, their intent was to mass RDM. Even though they were attempting, that's what their intent was. Okay, fail RP. Fail RP is going to be breaking RP in a sense. So that can be self-reviving. If you're dead, you're not going to magically come back to life. That can be teleporting in the middle of scene. Nobody here is magical to be able to teleport. That can be, complaining that, if you're, I see this way too often and it pisses me off. If you're a civilian, and you just finished robbing a bank and you're being charged with something completely random and say, hey, I'm in the highway patrol, that can be counted as fail RP, because I'm sure if you're active in the highway patrol, especially if you're a high rank, you're not going to be robbing a bank. And I know for the sheriff's office, you can't do rogue LEO RP just because it looks bad on the department. So fail RP can be a lot of things. Now, this rule is further down on the list, but NIT RP. NIT RP is not in the roleplay. Okay, it's not no intention of roleplay. It's not in the roleplay, meaning they're interfering. Okay, that can also be a form of fail RP. Or no intention of roleplay is fail RP. Okay, so you can punish for fail RP or no intention to roleplay, but not NIT RP. Those are two completely different things. Okay. Abusing LEO job to have extra perks. That otherwise wouldn't be there. God. Whatever. Abusing LEO job to have extra perks that otherwise wouldn't be there. So this can be locking and unlocking the prison door, or the what do you call it? The police station door. This can be, being friends with high command of your department and trying to get away with murder. Things of that nature. This is fairly straightforward, and really nobody, I personally, in my entire time of seeing this, I haven't seen anybody abuse the perks of being an LEO. But first offense, permanent offense. So if you know how to uncuff yourself, that's abusing your job. If you know how to do certain things as an LEO that normal civilians wouldn't know how to do, in RP sense, then that's abusing perks of an LEO. Okay, so just be smart with what you have, the knowledge you have. Okay. Priority cooldown. This is a big one. This is a huge one. If priority cooldown is on, that means that civilians can't commit any major crimes, robbing, killing, public shooting, vehicle theft, running from police, anything like that. Now, if somebody's killing on priority cooldown, that doesn't mean you kick them right away. Again, a lot of the people that come to Carolina State roleplay servers are brand new to 5M. Good chunk of them. Because, again, we are one of, if not the biggest 5M server. And most of them join because we are one of the biggest 5M servers. So it is something that you need to take with a grain of salt, and keep in the back of your head that, hey, this guy might actually be new to RP. A good bit of them are seasoned players, but again, keep in mind, they may be new. They might not know what priority cooldown means. I sure didn't when I first started. So you have to instruct them on it. Communication. Peacetime. We should never use peacetime. Peacetime should never be used. Flat out. Should never be used. I think they might be taking it out of the evasion. This is one that people get confused with a lot. They're not sure if you can, if you are to perm ban someone or, give them a longer punishment if they evade a ban. If somebody leaves, if they just mass RDM'd and they leave, or if somebody just RDMs twice, they see you and they leave, it jumps up to a permanent ban for evasion. If you are talking to somebody for RDMing and they say fuck you and then leaves, that's a perm ban. Okay, evading staff is a permanent ban. Let me rephrase that. Evading a ban, evading any type of punishment, even if it's just a kick, is a permanent ban. Okay, now there's different variations of evasion. If you go up to somebody who's in a default pet and you tell, this happens to me all the time. You go up to someone in a default pet and you tell them, hey, can you change that? And he just leaves, then leave him. It's just a default pet. It's not that big of a deal. But if somebody RDMs and you approach him, be like, hey, what you doing? And he leaves, then that's a perm ban. So you guys have to use your own judgment. You guys got to be smart with your ways. Be fair, but strict. There has to be a medium. Not responding to staff. This goes hand in hand with no mic. Majority of the time, if they're not responding, they don't have a mic. Straightforward. If they're not responding, if they don't have a mic, that cuts off the communication aspect, which you need to do your job as staff. Generally, they're not going to be banned for not responding to staff or not having a mic, not responding to staff, same thing. It's just going to be a kick. Mass vehicle spawn. If somebody is mass spawning, there should be no question if it's going to be a permanent ban. It is 100% a perm ban. Now the question is that person actually mass spawning, or is it the person standing next to them? And that's something that you have to have a really good trained eye for. If you need to look out and see where is that vehicle popping off from that guy from. Because majority of the time, whenever somebody's mass spawning, it's spawning in front of them. They're not spawning in the car. So you need to look where the people around this mass spawning is taking place, and where they're looking and where the car is actually spawning. Because from the V menu, you can't spawn a car behind you. You can only spawn it about 5 feet in front of you. So take that into account when looking for mass spawners. It doesn't happen often anymore. That's an old troll technique. What's up, Keeper?
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you. What if somebody's like spamming their spawn, like moving in circles and spamming with the spawn?
Like they're respawning their car consistently?
Yeah, I've had a couple people that would like spawn in tow trucks and walk into a scene spawning the same tow truck, and it would like destroy everybody.
What, like, are the tow trucks like stacking on each other?
No, it was one tow truck. He would keep replacing it with the same one, moving vehicles. And
then that would be fail RP. You can't pull a new tow truck out of your ass and then replace the old one. Okay, but that would be a more severe form of fail RP. That would be fail RP, interrupting. If they crash into someone, VDM. So as you learn more about the rule set, as you memorize these things more, you'll know what to look for. You'll know what's on here. You'll know the exact duration of punishment. Okay. Modding, hacking, that's pretty straightforward. If they're modding or hacking, they should be on the server. Now everybody always asks, how do you find a modder? And there's no real answer to it. There's tactics. but you really can't. There's no defined way to find a modder. The most recent modders I've noticed have been going around spectating people, asking for money to stop modding. And whenever I noticed that, I started spectating people, going through who is standing still. Okay. So when someone is standing still, especially in the default ped, when insane modding is happening, like ramps are spawning, explosions, swap heads, everything's spawning, then you can kick those AFK default pets or those standing still default pets. Okay. Another thing you can do whenever a modder is on a server is run Steam hexes. All of you should know how to run Steam hexes, especially if I trained you. I showed you how to run a Steam hex. So go from the top of your list of the in-game players, run Steam hexes, check if they're on the ban list, check if they've been perm banned before, check if they're on the modders list. If they are, you perm ban them for whatever reason they're on the ban list for. Speaking of running hexes, if you get a report on somebody, say for example Frank's reports Logan, then before I go speak to Logan, I'm gonna run his Steam hex really quick. Because if Logan is on the ban list, that makes my job super easy. If Logan's on the ban list, I just go ahead and perm ban Logan for the ban list reason, and tell Franks, be like, hey, he was dealt with. Thank you. Okay. Work smarter, not harder. Okay. Pretending to be staff. There's variations of this. Pretending to be staff as in having a colored name. That's just go up to the guy, say, hey, dude, can you take the color out your name? 75% of the time they will say, sure, yeah, I'll go relog. Sorry about that. The other 25%, they'll fight you about it and be like, no, I'm staff on a different server. But you have to be persistent. You have to insist, say, hey, sorry, color in the names for staff only on our server. Majority of the time, they'll either end up leaving or relogging. Now, in this case, pretending to be staff is somebody is pretending to be staff. They're going around to players saying, hey, I'm going to ban you, I'm staff, when they're not really staff. Okay, so that is going to be a permanent ban for the first offense. Or in this case, the fist offense. Combat logging. Oh my god, this is the most irritating thing ever. I'm sure most of you guys know. Combat logging is pretty much, I'll give an example. I am on a 1080 with Seek, and Seek ends up crashing his car, and then he leaves the game. That's combat logging. If you are getting pinned by a bunch of gang members and you leave the game, that's combat logging. It's fail RP, pretty much. But it's more a specific variation of fail RP. You can't just, if you're in a police chase and you crash, you can't just, vanish. At David Blaine. Okay. Normally with combat logging, they either don't come back. If they do come back, talk to them. Talk to them. Again, communication. Non-consensual sexual RP. Like the explanation says, it's straightforward. If some random civ comes up to you and he does the crouch thing and, goes from there, then you tell him, be like, hey, I'm going to ban you if you don't back off. And then you explain to them that that's a perm ban. You can't be doing that. Okay. That goes for pedophilia RP, rape RP, things like that. Should not be a thing. And if I see any of you guys allowing things like that, then you'll be banned for it. None of the that's one of the things that you can get banned for. If you allow any of these rules to be broken, you can get banned. You should not be allowing any of these rules to be broken. Excuse me. Yes, I'm drinking coffee at midnight. Choking on it. Okay. So next one is going to be advertising another server. This doesn't happen very often, but when it does, they usually spam the chat with the server is shit. Come to my server, and followed by a Discord invite. This is straightforward. Ban them right away, like as fast as you can, and report it directly to me or A Chambers and gang. Okay, because we investigate those things. Using a sniper. Oh my god. Do you hate whenever like a liquid goes down your air pipe instead of your normal pipe?
Well, you're right.
Wow, tough crowd. Okay. Okay, using a sniper. This used to be a permanent ban right away, but if somebody's using a sniper, it's very rare that they'll be doing it in RP. Majority of the time when somebody's using a sniper, they're, on top of the rock by flywheels. And, thank you. They're, on top of the rock by flywheels, and they're shooting people at flywheels, or they're shooting the gas station as people are filling up on gas. So, again, this used to be a perm ban. Now it's a first offense 24-hour ban, depending on what the severity and intentions of it are. LEOs, only certain LEOs can use snipers. So, as you guys can see here, I am heavy weapon certified, meaning I am permitted to be using snipers. While, and I don't mean to call you out, but say for example Johnson is not heavy weapon certified, so he should not be using snipers. Now, if I didn't have my heavy weapons certification, I do have special weapons though. So if they do have special weapons, they are permitted to use a sniper. Depends on the department though. But again, 24-hour ban. Majority of the time, they're not using it for RP sake. They're just using it to be an asshole. Okay. Disrespect. This can be to staff or players or the server. This is a broad term. So, staff disrespect. I go over this with everybody, and you guys probably heard this whenever I give you my staff training. If I go up to you, Anderson, and I say you are a piece of shit staff, you should never have gotten staff, you should have never have gotten promoted, and you should have your tags taken away. You are horrible. Is that staff disrespect?
Yes.
Is it?
Would you 59 PTS?
Go ahead.
No,
Huh?
it is not staff disrespect. That is an opinion.
Okay. So you will get those people who will give you very harsh criticism about how you staff. If you kick them and they come back and, say what I just said, unfortunately, it's not staff disrespect. It's harsh criticism. And if somebody says that to you, if somebody, goes in on, how bad of a staff member you are, then you kill them with kindness. You say, hey, if you don't think I'm doing my job, you may go report me in the Discord. 9 times out of 10, they won't report you. They'll just leave. Okay? So, know what's disrespect. If they're talking about your mother or, talking about you in real life, then obviously, yes, that's staff disrespect, and it's not a perm ban 100% of the time, but obviously if they call you the N word or the R word or the F word, then yeah, it's gonna be a perm ban. Go ahead.
Oh, what if someone says who's Joe and then they say Joe Mama? Would that be considered like talking about my mom, or is it just like?
Heck.
No, it's a serious question. I'm not even kidding. Like,
No,
because I wouldn't take that offensive, but maybe someone
no,
would.
no, that's not staff disrespect.
Okay, I'm just making sure. All right, thank you.
So server disrespect. If they're like saying like, oh, this server's shit. You know, I hate this server. It's so dumb. It's so bad. Again, that's really not that much of a perm bannable offense. Just, you know, say, hey, if you don't like the server, we're not forcing you to stay. But if you want to give some feedback, our Discord is open for feedback. And things like that. And the same thing with player disrespect. If I'm siving and Franks comes up and shoots me in the head and I call him and his mom a bitch, then, and I don't mean that, Franks, I'm saying it as an example, don't report me. You know, that's obviously going to be something that you want to step in for. And you are going to take action against that person that said that, because nobody's going to come to a video game, obviously a chill, you know, RP game, to have their mom talked about and them talked about. So it's, again, it's all based on the situation and using your head, using what you see and what you hear to form a conclusion. Glitching. There really aren't that many glitches, to be honest. There is a speed boosting glitch, which I'm not going to tell you about. If you know about it, shut your mouth.
Actually, Papa 94 PTS.
Go ahead.
Is glitching into a house that is pretty much like you're not able to shoot into it? Is that glitching? Because I know at the ranch, you can go inside the house if you use an emote, and you're pretty much invisible. You're visible from the inside, and people you can see out though.
If they're using it for RP, you know, if they're saying, "Hey, I'm going to my house," and they, you know, kind of hide in there while they're in a 1080 or something. Yes and no. You know, obviously, if other police can't go in there, then yes, it's glitching.
Okay.
But if they're just, you know, using it completely innocently, then I wouldn't really worry about it.
Gotcha. And there's also one at U-Tool. If you go inside, you can shoot out, but
yeah, that's what I hate. No, that's just a bug with our.
So that's not considered glitching.
Like consider it for now, because it's nobody's fault. It's kind of just a glitch with the interior.
Okay.
Just consider it a disadvantage for LEOs.
Gotcha.
if they have to, if there's a robbery there.
Okay.
Okay. Net RP, I was talking about this earlier. Not in the role play. Basically interfering. If somebody pushes himself into a role play that's not theirs, they're nit RPing or interfere. I use interfering because people always confuse nit RP with no intention of role play. Okay, so I don't recommend using nit RP. I just recommend in the kick or ban reason, whatever you end up doing, stating it as interfering. Again, because people get confused. But again, communicate this. If somebody runs into a bank robbery and they're like, "Hey, I'm your new hostage," pull them out. Be like, "Hey, don't interfere with this people roleplay. If they want you, then they'll call you." And it's pretty much simple as that. But again, majority of the time, people are understanding. Okay. Repairing car while driving, healing while in a scene. Fail RP, straightforward. Healing while in a scene is hard to confirm. So, you know, unless you're, you know, you have a LMG and you're spraying rounds into their face and they're still not dying, then yeah, it's going to be healing while in a scene, or they're modding. Just depends. But majority of the time, actually, I've noticed if you shoot someone and they don't die in the head, it can also be a form of desync, because that sometimes happens. So just be wary of that. But repairing a car while driving, you'll literally see the car like jump up in the air for a second, and that is fail RP. Okay, cars that go over 150. So the service speed limit is 150 for regular civilians and LEOs. Well, yes, and LEOs. And for whitelist, it's 200. And private civ, there's no cap on private civ. And I believe private LEO, there's no cap on private LEO. And PAX. So, say for example, I have my standard sheriff charger. I should not be going over 200, considering I'm whitelist in that. Okay, so anything over 200, I should, anything over 150 majority of the time, you should, just let them be, and report their ID to staff. Go ahead, Logan.
Sorry to interrupt, but how do we find the speed that they're actually going? Because I find when I spectate them, I can't see like a speedometer.
So what I do is, if I'm strictly staffing, I spawn in one of my sheriff cars, I turn on the radar, and I set the speed to 150. Okay, so and then I no clip behind them, and it'll meter that speed while I'm following them, so I can clock their speed while I'm no clipping behind them. If you don't have an LEO car, you can use the staff vehicles. Staff vehicles have radars that work. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Using broken vehicles to your benefit. That's going to involve the BMW SUV, the Cybertruck. Is the Cybertruck still in servers? I haven't seen it in so long.
I don't think so.
It's removed.
Okay, thank God. Yeah, so using broken vehicles to your benefit, that's going to be, that bulletproof BMW. What other broken cars are there? Oh, the fast as hell Lexus SUV. Things like that. I don't think an SUV is going to go 200 miles an hour.
PTS.
Go ahead.
Wasn't there that the Elon Musk car or whatever?
Yeah, that's
That
taken out.
Tesla truck or whatever?
Tesla. Well, the Tesla truck's been taken out.
Oh yeah.
This involves using bulletproof tires. You should not be using bulletproof tires. Staff shouldn't. Civilians shouldn't. LEOs shouldn't. It's fail RP. In the common market, in the real life, you cannot get bulletproof tires. Vigilante RP. This is pretty much those guys, and I know for a fact every one of you has seen this. Those guys, you're in a 1080, and that random civilian that pits the guy you're chasing. And he's like, oh, I'm helping you out. No, that's vigilante RP. You can't do that. Okay? That's also, running into a bank robbery, a civilian running into a bank robbery and shooting a guy in the head. No, you
BTS.
cannot do that. Go ahead.
So yeah, I understand a certain extent to that, but I've also run into people who don't appear to have any armor on, don't appear to be trying to be vigilantes, but they just happen to be in the area, and I guess you would call them a what's the word? A saint? Or wait, no.
Good Samaritan.
A good Samaritan, yes. But is that also considered that? Like if someone were to lightly tap them to stop a 1080, or maybe tackle them if they're armed?
Hold up. So, say for example, if you're in a 1080, there shouldn't be, a civilian Dodge Challenger passing you to pit the civilian, the guy you're chasing. But if somebody, sees it down the road and they, come out their driveway just a little bit to, make him swerve and crash, then that's fine, because that happens in real life. But nobody's gonna, in real life, pass 3 police cars to pit the guy. If you can find me a video of that happening, then the rule still is something, but I would be surprised.
PTS.
Go ahead.
Back to the bulletproof tires thing. I noticed I think it's the Gorka. Whenever you spawn it in and try to take off the bulletproof tires.
That's a whitelist vehicle.
Okay.
Whitelist vehicle, just that car. That is the only armored car that is allowed in the server. The Gurkha. And obviously certain LEO vehicles.
Alrighty. By the way, I got you on a video later for that. What you were just talking about.
I'll hurt you. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna hurt you. You guys are tough, man.
I might like it.
Um, okay. Okay, so next one down is going to be unrealistic vehicles. This ties into using broken vehicles. So this is going to be the monster truck, the bulletproof BMW, the insurgent, the armored or the turreted limo, things like that.
I'll show pop at 94 PTS.
Go ahead.
What about the car that flips very easily? That's the GTA 5 view.
Yes, unrealistic.
Okay.
It's just broken, the script for it. It's also going to be the land and sea four-wheeler. That goes into another rule, which we'll get to. What else? Any vehicle with guns on it. The bright alien car, the party bus. Now, one thing with the party bus is, which I tell people, and there hasn't been an issue with me saying it yet, people can use it. There's been some cool RPs with it, but they can't drive it around. So if they want to use the party bus, they can park it in one spot, they can spawn it in where they want it, and keep it there. But they cannot drive it around. I just tell people, I say, hey, the lights on the party bus and the alien car lag the server. That's what I tell people. It doesn't, but that's what I tell people. Also with the Tron bike. Tron bike is unrealistic. Okay, no colored names. This is self-explanatory. If they have color in their name and they're not staff, then just ask them to take it out. Again, 9 times out of 10, they'll take it out.
One Juliet 59 PTS.
God.
When you say vehicles with weapons, some of the FAA planes, I guess for advanced license, have guns on them. Are they meant to be on there, or do you know?
Yeah, all of the planes and helicopters. That's everything is stock, pretty much. I think there's one helicopter which is the FBI Blackhawk, but everything is stock, so they can't really take it off. They're technically department vehicles, and FAA restricts the use of those weapons on the planes and the helicopters. So if they are caught using them, report it to the proper FAA legal office.
PDS Echo 76.
Go ahead.
About the Hummer. What I usually say is people going down Panorama like 200 miles per hour, and then I go over to them and say, "Why are you driving it at this speed?" And then they just go off again. They leave. They come back on the Hummer, and personally, I just think it should be removed. It's overpowered. It just shouldn't be in the game.
Kind of. Yes and no. That's exactly what the supercar role is for. It's to kind of cut down on the random people that come into the server just for the super fast cars. If they're in the Discord, they sort of make a slight commitment by being in the Discord, and getting that role, and getting the ability to use the fast cars. I know a lot of the super fast cars, even some of the SUVs, are locked under the supercar role. I don't know if the Hummer is. But yeah, that goes into unrealistic driving. Going 200 miles an hour, or even fail RP. Going 200 miles an hour in a 2-ton truck. So it's, again, it's based on the situation. But again, communicate to the guy. Be like, hey, let's not go 200 miles an hour down a main road in a large Hummer. It's unrealistic. Private militia. This goes hand in hand with military RP. We don't have a military anymore. So anybody who tries to do a military RP is going to be sort of a militia. The reason this is not allowed, and it can be a good RP, but the reason it's not allowed is majority of the time it really oftentimes covers up for RDM. Somebody will be, hey, I'm a private military. I take ownership of the All Trust camp. If you come up here, we will shoot you on sight. There's never, ever an excuse for kill on site roleplay. Ever. I banned a staff member once because he gave permission for kill on site roleplay. There's never a reason for kill on site roleplay. No gang RP should be kill on site. No type of RP should be kill on site. Because it literally is, that person shoots you, the RP is over. Because majority of the time they just respawn or revive and there's no police presence involved. So private militia, military RP is a no-go. Talk to them, explain it to them. Breaking laws for no apparent reason. This happens so often. And that breaking laws for no apparent reason goes hand in hand with cop baiting. Now, cop baiting is breaking laws for no reason in front of police. So your most common example of this is doing burnouts in front of police. Why would you ever do a burnout in front of a police officer? Street racing right in front of the police station. Breaking laws for no apparent reason. You know, shooting in the air just because they feel like it for attention. Breaking laws for no apparent reason. Okay. Again, that's something to talk to them about. Be like, hey, if you want to go shoot up in the air, hey, go to the desert. Act like you're hunting. Get a police report on. Get a police called on yourself. Or hey, you want to do a burnout? Go do it in that back alley, and have the police called on you. Something like that. So, again, communicate. Give them RP ideas to further their time on the server. Getting tased with no effects afterwards. Fail RP. If you're getting tased, you're not going to walk it off. Well, actually, there are cases where people do walk it off, but getting tased with no after effects is usually they have no ragdoll on. So if you get tased once and they don't have an effect, whatever, if they get tased twice, then that's going to be kind of, you should be affected by your second tase. That's going to hurt. You now have four metal prongs inside of you. So if the tase isn't doing anything, that's definitely going to slow you down. Those metal prongs lodged in your back or your chest. Metagaming, oh thank God, that is like almost eliminated by now. So there's no player blips anymore. There's no names you can see through walls anymore. So the only metagaming I can think of right now is hearing somebody talking from through 3 walls. So if say for example you're on the roof of Ace Liquor and somebody is downstairs, they're most likely not going to hear you if you're going to be whispering. Now, game wise, they are going to hear you because that's how our voice chat system works. But that's a version of metagaming, hearing you through a whole floor. Another version of metagaming is if you're not FBI and if you're not a detective unit in your department, starting a drug bust over Twitter things. It can also be, knowing that, say, for example, Yakuza is in the server and you go to the Yakuza locations and wait for them to arrive and then arrest them there. Things like that. Metagaming is often done by LEOs. There's not metagaming often done by civilians, actually, surprisingly. So be on the lookout for that. Power gaming, it's vigilante RP, pretty much. You go in guns blazing anytime you want. You get mad when you die and you complain about it. Suicidal and terrorist RP, that's fairly straightforward. Communicate to them that we don't allow that on the server. Suicide RP, for the main reason, people will argue saying, suicide happens in real life, why can't I RP it? And if somebody's having thoughts of suicide in real life, seeing it in a game won't help them. It'll just give them more ideas, and we want to eliminate that as much as possible. I'm very, very no tolerant on suicidal RP. I give you one warning, and if you continue to do it, I'll kick you. And for terroristic RP, yes, you are enforcing that, but that rule might change because I know some departments are developing bomb squads and things like that. But terrorist RP, there should be no active shooter. I'm in a building and I shoot anybody that's in there. That should not happen.
When did you leave video on BTS?
Go ahead.
So, for like an example of terrorist RP, would that be somebody having a bomb in their car, like a high importance target or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't really say, I got a bomb strapped to my chest. At least not yet. Again, that rule might change, but as of now, there's no bomb or terrorist RP. Okay. Fear RP. This is a huge one. This fear RP and force RP actually kind of clash. Fear RP, if I have a shotgun aimed to the side of your head, you're not gonna, swing your fist at me. Or, reach for a knife or reach for a gun. Because I'll take your head off. So fear RP is pretty much if you have a gun pointed at you, or if you're being held on the side of a cliff, about to be pushed off, you're not going to do anything stupid to counteract that. You're going to act as if, your life is in danger. You got to value your life. And that goes into another rule, value life. Kidnapping law enforcement and kidnapping fire EMS. Again, these two go hand in hand. They're, fire and EMS is in the same category as law enforcement. You can kidnap law enforcement and fire EMS only with their permission. So a civilian shouldn't come up to you and be like, and aim their gun at you, and say, get out of your car. They should be asking your permission. Generally, it's done in chat. I think, Anderson, you've tried to do it to me in chat through chat. I think, right? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he does /OC, hey Nelson, can I have your permission to kidnap you? And I'm like, yeah, but you can't put a GPS tracker on me. You got to find me yourself. Okay, so that's the proper way for it to be done. Oh, that's probably loud. I'm so sorry. One second. Do you just say there's a drug deal
Like you're
going outside
talking
at your
in
house?
real life or in game.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Was
that's
Joe
tough.
involved? Was Joe involved?
One Juliet 59 1097 code 3.
Joe who? Joe who?
Joe Willis.
Oh, gotcha. No, I don't think he was.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so if somebody tries to kidnap you while you're on duty, if you want to allow it, that's perfectly fine. But quickly tell them, be like, hey, next time ask for permission before you do it. And any of you LEOs, if you want to know a trick on how to not get kidnapped, you tell the person trying to kidnap you that you have a kill switch. Shit. Because if any of you try to kidnap me, I can't use this on you. Whatever. That you have a kill switch under your front headlight. And if they don't push that, then a GPS signal will be sent out whenever you get out of your car. So when they go to try to push it, you run them over. It works every time. And then you call for backup and properly arrest them while they're laying on the ground without an arm. I'm upset none of you responded to that.
Can you?
Foxtrot Papa
combine that?
94.
Go ahead, Franks.
I was laughing with while my mic was muted.
Okay, good.
Echo 56. Can you 10-9 that, please?
Yeah. So if somebody's trying to kidnap you while you're on duty, okay, you tell them, be like, hey, I'll get out of my car, but you have to hit the kill switch that's under my headlight. Because if you don't hit that kill switch, then a GPS signal will be sent to dispatch. And whenever they go to hit that kill switch, you run them over and you call for backup. Then you return to them. You set a bolo out for them. You wait for your backup, and then you arrest them. It works every time.
PTS.
Go ahead.
Is this going to be the only like training like this, or are you going to do another one anytime soon? Because I gotta go right now.
Maybe I'll do another one sometime soon. They won't happen every day though.
Is there any sort of like rank gain from this?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I gotta go. I'll see you guys later. It was fun being here while I could.
Goodbye.
Foxtrot Papa 94.
Go ahead.
Just to make sure I'm good to record this, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so next one down. Animal RP. Obviously canine RP is fine. Now for animal RP. Civilians shouldn't be dogs. They shouldn't be... I think all the other PIDs are blacklisted, but they shouldn't be dogs. And they definitely shouldn't be the Bigfoot thing. Now, if they're running around as if they are, a person in a Bigfoot costume, that's fine. But if they're running around, barking like an ape, then that's not permitted. They can't really RP as Bigfoot because, someone will try to kill them, they'll get RDM, blah, 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 blah. There really can't be much that comes from animal RP. Shooting out of a moving vehicle. You will see this every single day you get on a server.
Yeah, no doubt.
Every single day. And it's literally the best way to fix it. Tell them. Be like, hey, you can't shoot out of a moving vehicle, but you can stop your car and then shoot from it. And especially during, like when people are doing drive-bys, explain to them, be like, hey, if you're going to be doing a drive-by, stop your car completely, then you can shoot out of it. And make sure the person you're shooting knows why they are being shot. So, somebody shouldn't be doing drive-bys on just random people for no reason. If somebody's doing a drive-by on that person, they better know what's coming. Okay, because these like surprise RPs and these force RPs should never be a thing. Disturbing server meetings. We don't have in-game server meetings. So that's whatever. And gang deals with any Discord server meetings. He'll ban anybody that interferes with that. Disobeying superior rank in the police force without...
Foxtrot, you're at 99 PTS.
Go ahead.
May I be excused from this training? I need to go.
Goodbye.
All right, thank you.
Yep. This one's pretty much a department thing. If you don't listen to your superior, then that's going to be a department issue, not really a staff issue. Fake cop, not an RTO. Majority of the time when this happens, you'll see somebody driving the vanilla police car or the PO truck, and they're not an RTO. Don't yell at them. Don't tell them to get out of the ped. Don't tell them to delete the truck. Explain to them how to get an RTO. Like, I don't understand why staff members, yell at, those who aren't in RTO. If they're in the vanilla police car, spawn them the PO truck and be like, hey, this is how you get an RTO. Because these people could one day be in a department. These people could one day be a supervisor in a department. These people could one day be a head of a department. And it starts with you instructing them on how to do it. Nude peds, I think there's like only one or two. Just tell them to change it. They'll change it. If they don't change it, obviously go towards the first offense, second offense, third offense thing. Spawning in too many cars for a dealership. There isn't a defined number, but the kind of general consensus number is 8. So try to keep dealerships at 8 vehicles or
I
less.
just did 2 per person.
There really shouldn't be any punishments for this at all. Just explain to them, be like, hey, any more than 8 kind of causes lag for the server. Can you please keep it 8 or below? For if they're doing vehicles at flywheels, keep it to 5. Because that's a smaller area. It causes more lag whenever they're compacted together. Armored or DLC vehicles. This is a big one. You'll see people driving the armored, sedans, armored SUVs. Just tell them to change it out. They have literally the same variants, but not armored. And DLC vehicles, the Insurgent, what else is a DLC vehicle that people could spawn?
Limo.
The turreted limo.
The Dune.
The Dune. I don't think you can spawn in the Dune, can you?
The MLT one. What exactly what's called?
I don't. Oh no, the big rusted piece of shit. Oh my.
Dune loader.
Dune loader. Yes, I hate that thing because people will VDM the shit out of people with it. The Dune loader is DLC, so no DLC vehicles. It's straightforward. It's all the DLC vehicles in GTA are weaponized or extremely massive or obnoxious for no reason. So no DLC, no armored, and then follow this one. Unrealistic actions, unrealistic driving, things of that nature. Ramping off of the berm right past the Joshua gas station, things like that. Repairing vehicles, again, that goes to respawning and giving yourself health. Cop baiting, that goes to... Go ahead.
PTS.
Go ahead.
The thing about ramping off the berm, I get ramping off of it at like 60 miles an hour, but I frequently illegally off-road as a RP. But I don't ramp off of it like at extremely high speeds. I just do it in a very dangerous off-road way with a dune buggy. Is that still okay?
Yes. Now, if you're going... So do you know how there's like now a fence where the gas station is to that berm?
Yeah.
If you're like ramming through that fence and then, catching some good air, then yes, that's fairly unrealistic driving. You're going to speak to them about that, be like, hey, let's not do that again. But if you're, turning off the road off Joshua and going over the hill, not catching much or no air, then that's I don't see a problem with that. Cop baiting, that went into... What would it go into? Whatever. Cop baiting, spinning your wheels in front of cops, things like that. We already talked about that. Go ahead.
May I please be excused from this meeting? I gotta go.
Goodbye. New life rule. If somebody dies at a scene, they can't come back and already know what's going on. This goes for LEOs and civilians. So if you get shot at a bank robbery as an LEO and you respawn and you come back and you already know what's happening, then you're breaking the new life rule. New life rule should really be enforced a lot more often. Value of life. This goes into fear RP. So if you're a civilian and you have a bunch of guns pointed at you from LEOs, then you shouldn't do anything crazy stupid. You want to value your life if you don't want to die. Obviously, if you do want to die, that goes into suicide RP. Again, that's a lot of these rules are just talking to someone. Ass pulling, that's not really a thing anymore now that we have the bag and trunk system. Drag cars aren't a thing anymore, thank God. There are private civs, but those are allowed. Cars that have excessive speeds, that's going to be like the Tesla, the McLaren, the Lexus SUV. They're allowed, but it's going to be used, enforced through, unrealistic driving, unrealistic actions, VDM, things like that. So they can use the, super fast cars. They have to use them responsibly and within the rules. Have to speak English to play on Carolina State RP. Obviously, it's set in Carolina, which is in the United States. You have to speak understandable English. Stealing LEO vehicles isn't a problem anymore because we have the LEO certification, or what was it called? Law enforcement cert. And now those LEO vehicles despawn.
Julie 59 PTS.
Go ahead.
Now that we have that, I've been meaning to ask this for a while. Either it's a really stupid question or a really good question. So now that it's locked under a role, those that have it are then technically allowed to drive it when on duty. Are we allowed to do LEO vehicle stealing RPs now? That it's locked under a role?
No.
Okay.
Spam depends what they're spamming. If they're spamming the N-word, I hope you guys know what you should do. Samson, what are you going to do if somebody's spamming the N-word in chat? Okay, good to know he's sleeping. Johnson, what do you got to do if someone's spamming the N-word in chat?
That'll be a pretty quick bans.
Okay, permit, yeah. Now, if they're spamming, the slash me, or if they're spamming, staff to me, don't be aggressive with them. They might have done it by accident. I sure have spammed by accident. I've sent the same message a few times by accident. Just be like, hey, dude, you're spamming. Be careful. Let's not do that again. But obviously, if they're spamming the N-word or advertising another server, they're going to be permit. No mic. You have to have a mic to play on our server. Straightforward. Screaming in the mic or mic spamming. Again, straightforward. Fair to come to AOP, not a thing anymore. It's statewide. Arguing. People are going to argue. It's, it's a thing that happens. It's going to happen. Again, mediate the situation. You're a kind of a counselor to the server. You need to make sure players are RPing and they're not arguing. If somebody argues, you shut it down really quick. And you say, okay, let's figure this out so we can move on with our days. So be responsible, be calm, be patient, and speak to them. Being in the default ped, that's straightforward. All of you guys know what the default ped is. 99% of the time, if you tell them to change it, they'll change it. AFK, this is a big one. If you spectate someone and they are just standing still, don't kick them as soon as you see them. They could be setting up their ped. They could be DMing a friend. They could be stepping away to go to the bathroom. Okay, if you see someone who's AFK, spectate them, TP to them. Try to talk to them. Try to get their attention. If they don't respond to you, leave them alone for like 5-10 minutes. If you come back and they're still AFK, then you can kick them for AFK and make it a nice message. Don't just kick them with the reason be AFK. Kick them with the reason, say AFK, come back whenever. Or you're welcome back whenever. Make it a welcoming environment. LEO rules, I'm not really going to go over these because, it's, again, through department things. These should be done by these should be enforced by supervisors on duty. And staff rules, the ones you guys need to know about. Okay, yelling at a player and disrespecting a player. There should be under no reason why you should yell at someone or disrespect someone. You have the resources to remove them from the server. You have the resources to punish them as necessary. Use them rather than being disrespectful to them. Use your resources. flaunting your position. If you're going to go up to a random civilian and say, hey, I'm better than you. You don't tell me what to do. I'm staff. Or you go up to your supervisor and says, hey, I'm staff. I'm going to kick you if you do this, this, and this. Don't do that. While you guys are staff, you do have a special role in the server. You yourself are not special. I, as an admin, I'm not special. The civilians that come to our server and provide RP on our server and provide traffic to our server, they are more special than we are. Using your staff powers for an advantage. This involves the repair vehicle in the F1 menu, speed boosting, no clipping to avoid crashing, freezing someone in a 1080, things like that. Don't false banning also. This goes hand in hand with banning kicking for no decent reason. You are to use this rule set that you have, that we have right in front of you. I hope you guys have the link to the rule set. If you don't, I'll post it in staff chat right after we're done. You are to use this document to enforce the rules. You don't enforce the rules you want. You don't enforce the punishments you want. That's not how it works here. You go by this rule set and this rule set only. Okay. Not following your duty as a moderator. Not responding to staff calls. If you're not responding to staff calls, there's an issue. Whenever I was a trial mod, we would always race each other to who could answer the most staff calls, and we would have a tally at the end of our patrol who answered the most staff calls. And whoever had the most had bragging rights. Now, I don't think anybody really does that anymore because, people have gotten lazy, the standards have gotten down a little bit. But you should always, if you see that staff call, you pause that 10-11. You pause the robbery you're doing, whatever. And you go to that staff call. And don't have in your head, be like, oh, there's other staff members, they'll get it. Because then everyone will think that. And then no one will get to them. I've banned plenty of people for this in-game. Plenty of staff members I've banned for them. Because they don't respond to these staff calls where the civilians need us the most. When they're calling for us, that means they really need us. That means they need to talk to us about an issue. Okay. Playing on other servers, this is self-explanatory. You've gone over this in your staff. You went over this whenever you joined your department. You flat out can't be a part of any other servers. Can't be in any other Discords. If you're in another RP server's Discord, I recommend you leave it now before we find out about it. And yeah. Playing other games. Finish your 4 hours. It's, we all should be in quarantine. If you're not in quarantine, then God bless you. But if you're not in if you are in quarantine, then you guys have the whole day. Spread your 4 hours throughout the day, and then play a game at the end of the day. Another game. But you guys made the commitment to be on the staff team. So show that commitment. And that is all for the rule set. So one thing that I want you guys to take away from this is this is not, a job. This is not a, this is not a company. This is a community of people. And the servers is a way that we have fun. The servers is a way where we can, be immersed into something that we enjoy doing, that we enjoy, things that we can't do in real life. Like we can't rob a bank in real life. I personally, I can't not be a sheriff in real life, but that's not my work field. But it's cool that I can do it in this game. I'm sure for, you FBI guys or you highway or CBD, whoever, it's cool that you can be in that field while you're, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, whatever. Because some of you may, take away from this, be like, hey, maybe I kind of want to be a cop. That'd be awesome. Okay? But again, look at this as a community. Help build the community. If you see somebody in a Civ Lounge by themselves, hop in there. Introduce yourself. Be like, hey, you need any help finding anything around in the Discord? You want someone to RP with? Give ideas for RP also to civilians. If you see someone just driving around, cop baiting, doing whatever, go up to them, be like, hey man, what you doing? And offer them ideas of RP scenes. Okay. I went over every single rule on this rule set. That doesn't mean you guys got every single rule in this rule set. So continue having this up for yourself on your phone, on your Steam overlay, behind your game, and reference it all the time. Memorize it, learn it. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, should I pop in 94?
Go ahead.
You want the recording after?
Sure. Nobody else?
PTS.
Johnson, go ahead.
Me and Samson, when we came to trial, we